All right, it is 7:02. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and start with the pledge. If there are no changes to the agenda, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
I do have an amendment to one of the consent agenda items, 6F, which is to authorize the purchase of equipment, which would be the vac jetter truck, in the amount of $631,000 and change, plus applicable taxes and licenses. The city attorney has advised us that we should amend that motion to be that amount plus applicable taxes and licenses and any statutory requirements and any associated fees thereof. For example, statute requires on an item of that purchase amount, we will need to have a performance bond included. There will be a cost for that. And so we'll need to, we'll ultimately want to have a contract with the vendor for that. Even though we are purchasing under state bid, these are things that are additionally required above and beyond.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended, as was just discussed.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Amanda. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, presentation, proclamations, and acknowledgements. We don't have any. Is anyone here for public comment? Nope. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything anyone wants to pull from the consent agenda?
I was just going to make a comment. If you're making changes to that 6F, there was a typo on top of page 36. I actually read all. I was bored. I don't know. But the top of page 36 is 2026. It was just 226. So just a small, teeny tiny typo that I got. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Kate. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. No public hearings tonight, so we'll move on to general business, purchase of real property, BN Enterprises.
I'll be handling the presentation on this, and we'll be sharing the presentation. The City Council met in closed sessions on May 14th and May 28th to discuss the purchase of real property. The property is owned by BN Enterprises LLC and is located adjacent to and north of the City Hall campus. BN Enterprises purchased this 16-acre property as an investment in 2024, and they've been actively marketing the property to developers. The City Council determined that acquisition of approximately 4 acres of the property would be in the public interest by securing land for the ultimate city campus identified in the City of Elko New Market Public Facilities Master Plan. And based on direction received from the City Council, staff have negotiated a purchase agreement on approximately 4 acres. Just for the public's benefit, in reviewing a little bit about the master plan, in approximately 2008, Public Facilities Master Plan was completed that evaluated the future space needs for City Hall, fire, and police, potentially library, and community space. The space needs were directly tied to a population of the city of approximately 20,800 people, and it was determined that approximately 20 acres would be needed for future city campuses. The facilities plan was adopted by the City Council in 2008, and we have been operating on the premise that the City Hall campus would be this area surrounding the existing City Hall. The drawing here shows the existing City Hall and area outlined in yellow, which was the desired additional land. The area in green on this drawing shows the existing city campus. The city acquired additional property in 2021, property to the east, the Coleman property. 2 additional pieces were acquired in 2025, and this last 4-acre parcel kind of connects the other pieces that the city already owns. This is that same, those same areas overlaid on a current aerial photograph. Again, green depicts the city-owned property, and the yellow depicts the property proposed for acquisition at this time. In addition to completing the property acquisition needed to implement the city's long-range facilities plan, there are potential transportation benefits. The city's adopted transportation plan identifies a north-south roadway alignment we refer to as Riley Road as a future minor collector street. Riley Road could also act as future access to a municipal campus. The property acquisition would also be beneficial for implementation of the transportation plan. Riley Road has already been stubbed to the north side of the property proposed for acquisition. This was an early concept developed by the former city engineer. Area in red kind of outlines area that extends into the property proposed for acquisition. As required by Minnesota statute, the city's planning commission has reviewed the proposed acquisition and determined that unanimously that the property acquisition is in compliance with the city's 2040 comprehensive plan, which guides the property to town center. Details of the purchase agreement are purchase price of $92,500 per acre, contingent on city financing, a closing date of not later than September 1st, 2026. The city would be responsible for surveying costs to split the property from the existing 16-acre parcel. So the total purchase price is expected to be approximately $370,000. The final amount will depend on the exact acreage to be determined upon completion of a survey. This would be financed through a capital improvement bond, which would then be paid annually through the city's general fund. Our finance department has worked with our bonding company to determine what the annual debt service payments would be. Based on a 15-year bond, they would range between approximately $33,000 and $37,000 annually, and would be based on the actual bond terms. Again, the city would be responsible for paying survey cost, typical buyer closing cost, and city attorney time associated with the transaction, and those are proposed to be paid from general fund reserves. If the council is in favor of the purchase agreement as described, we would recommend that you adopt Resolution 26-48 approving purchase of real property.
Any questions? We'll take a motion to adopt Resolution 2648 approving the purchase of real property.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Keith, second by Josh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the review of the revised concept plan for Boulder Heights South.
All right. I will handle this item as well, and I'm going to share a PowerPoint, and I'm going to apologize. This is the PowerPoint I prepared for the Planning Commission meeting. I'm going to repeat for you. The Planning Commission and City Council reviewed a concept plan for Boulder Heights South earlier this year. At that point, the City Council and Planning Commission recommended support for annexation of the property based on a concept plan that was submitted at that time. That concept plan included 30 acres. There was a single-family portion of the development. that would not be affected by a potential roadway realignment, and the developer wanted to get going on that portion of the development. And then there was another portion of the development to the south that could potentially be affected by a roadway realignment. So the consensus was that any land that would be potentially affected not be allowed to develop until the County Road 86 access study was completed. The City Council and Planning Commission's recommendations included 30 comments related to the plat. These were the two concepts that were submitted previously. Oh, it's not? I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. Wrong one. Okay. Continuing on, this slide shows the concepts that were originally presented and reviewed by the City Council and Planning Commission. That one shows the keeping Beard Avenue on its existing alignment, and one shows a slight realignment. Following the City Planning Commission and City Council's review, property to the west was listed for sale, and KJ Walk now has a purchase agreement on that adjacent 10 acres, and their concept plans have been revised to include the additional acreage. So the revised concept now include 40 acres, and 3 concept plans have been developed by KJ Walk. They would like to immediately begin development on 72 single-family lots, or approval on that. So this is the original location of the development. You can see on the south side of the city, adjacent to the county line. Shows the original 30 acres. This time, there's 3 concept plans that have been submitted. This is concept plan number 1 that shows a slight realignment. Concept plan number 2 is the existing alignment of Beard, and concept number 3 shows a more dramatic realignment of Beard to the west. You can see this just as surrounding property conditions. To the north is the Boulder Heights development, contains 125 single-family lots, which is mostly built out. I think there are 2 or 3 lots that have not been built on. And then to the south, east and west are large lot rural residential properties or agricultural properties. The proposed use of the family for single-family residential homes and townhomes towards, or apartments towards the south meets the intent of the city's guided land use for the area. The northern half of the property is guided to low-density residential, and the southern half is guided to medium-density residential. This slide shows the reference to the city's ultimate service area. As indicated in the red box, the properties within the city's planned service area and 2040 growth boundary. The current zoning is authority of Scott County. It's currently zoned urban reserve, reserved for development on municipal utilities. If annexed into the city, it would automatically be zoned urban reserve, and then future zoning would need to be consistent with the city's 2040 comprehensive plan. So that would, the developer is seeking R2 zoning on the northern portion and R3 zoning on the southern portion. Proposed lot widths for the single-family portion of the development are 65 feet. The slide shows minimum lot standards. The R3 for the southerly portion, it depends on how they intend to develop that, if they would develop in apartments or townhouses or single-family. There's different standards. In terms of landscaping, there will be additional lot depth that will be required for lots that back up to Beard Avenue, since that's identified as a major collector street. So 140-foot lot, 5-foot lot depth would be required along Beard. And then attached housing for the southern portion of the site. Our city code requires that 30% of the total site area be landscaped, and in-ground irrigation is required under our code. The site is largely agricultural, but there are some trees on the additional 10-acre site. 40% of the significant trees will need to be preserved, and a tree inventory must be completed. This slide just depicts the city sanitary sewer plan. The site falls within Sewer Service District 1S-6. The city engineer's office has conducted a downstream analysis of any limiting factors in the sewer system and has determined that downstream sanitary sewer system can handle the flow from the proposed development. This just shows the existing, the site outlined in green and the existing sewer infrastructure to the north in green. Boulder Heights development to the north is served by a lift station, and there are a series of additional lift stations downstream. This slide just depicts the city's water plan, and that 12-inch trunk sewer line will be required along the east side of the property. The property lies within two watershed management areas, the Scott WMO primarily, but a small portion of the property drains to the Cannon River watershed district. The slide just depicts proposed stormwater ponding areas for the development. A wetland delineation has been completed and has been submitted to Scott County for review, since they are currently the LGU. Wetland buffers are required. Wetlands and would be contained in outlots and conveyed to the city upon filing of a plat. There are no floodplains on this property. There are no DNR protected waters on this property. There's a DNR protected water to the east. Regarding transportation, we kind of reviewed all of this during the original concept plan, but Oxford Lane on the north is a city street stub to the north side of the property. County Highway 86 is a 2-lane rural highway that lies on the southern side of the property and is the border between Scott and Lee Sewer County. And then Beard Avenue on the east side of the property is currently a township road. So Beard Avenue is currently under the jurisdiction of Newmarket Township. Staff and the township and the Planning Commission have recommendations regarding improvement of Beard Avenue in connection with annexation or the plat. So Beard Avenue is identified as a major collector street. We do have concerns regarding the existing alignment. If there's questions about that, they can be directed to Luke as well. But we question whether the current alignment is the best long-term location for the roadway based on horizontal and vertical issues at the curve of where it connects to County Highway 86. Staff is currently working with Scott and Rice counties and Newmarket Township and conducting a corridor study to ensure that intersecting roadways are set up to accommodate future growth and at appropriate locations. A study of the corridor between Pillsbury, which is on the east side of 35, and Texas Avenue is currently, or Natchez Avenue is currently underway. Oops. Again, the developer is just initially seeking approval of lots that would not be affected by Beard Avenue, but requesting annexation of the entire property. So the existing Boulder Heights development contains 125 lots, and there are 2 platted streets into the development. However, there's only one physical way into the development at Oxford, where the red star is located. And this was an arrangement, some of you were on the council at the time, of negotiations between the township and the city at the time of the original development. And in lieu of paving Beard Avenue adjacent to Boulder Heights, the township wanted 275th Street paved out to County Road 91. So therefore, Beard Avenue, Lydia Lane is barricaded at Beard Avenue, so that's not passable. But staff is recommending that as a condition of plat approval of the first phase, that Beard Avenue be improved from 275th Street to Lydia Lane, and Lydia Lane be opened to traffic. There would then be 2 ways in and out of the development. That road section can remain rural with a paved surface. So rural meaning that it would keep the ditches on both sides. And then Beard Avenue south of Lydia Lane could be improved incrementally with development, future phases of development. And if the roadway is realigned, it should transition to an urban section with curb and gutter. There are a number of local roads within the development. Staff has no concerns regarding the local road connections. However, the Planning Commission did recommend that the developer look at one of, in the concept plan number 3, potentially realigning where the connection into the development is off of Beard Avenue. The project will generate approximately 1,700 additional cars a day onto the transportation system. And we will look at that modeling with the transportation study that is being done by Bolton and Mank. Sidewalks will be required on one side of all local roads, and a trail will be required on the west side of Beard Avenue. Both the Parks Commission and the Planning Commission have recommended cash in lieu of land dedication for the development of the 40 acres. And the reason being is because the development is within a quarter mile of the Boulder Heights Park. Again, to develop the property as depicted, annexation is required. The property owner submitted a petition to annex the initial 30 acres and have advised me that they'll be updating their petition to include the additional 40 acres. And I did attend the town board meeting on Tuesday night this week and presented this, a PowerPoint regarding the development, the proposed development, annexation, improvements to Beard Avenue, or recommendations regarding Beard Avenue. They expressed support for the annexation under the terms that were described. And we haven't presented them with a pre-development agreement or orderly annexation agreement yet. But they did express support for that. We did look at ghost plats on a couple of the adjacent properties, just to determine that road connections would be made to adjacent properties at appropriate locations. Staff supportive of the road layout and how those properties would be serviced. There's a property to the west and a property to the northwest. The city council, again, I apologize, this is the PowerPoint from the planning commission meeting, but the planning commission expressed support for annexing the property based on the 40-acre concept plans and allowing the developer to immediately develop the property not affected by Beard Avenue realignment. The city council is being asked the same, if they support annexation and development. There were 30 comments and conditions included in the staff report, if you have any questions.
Before we get into questions, I do want to open it up if there is anyone here that would like to speak about this item. Don't have to. Just wanted to open it up.
Sure, I'm Warren Israel, son of the owner of KJ Lock. And looking forward to doing another project here in town. So you've already, I guess, I don't know if you actually voted on it or what, but recommended approval for the first 30 acres, so we're just adding another 10 acres to this request. It was actually Renee that suggested, hey, that property's for sale next to you, why don't you take a look at it?
Yeah, I created one more work for myself. No.
So it's like, yeah, so it's gonna work out real well, the existing house, we're actually gonna be able to save that, and it's gonna be, it works out really well to fit on one of the proposed lots. Actually, one of our guys actually already wants to buy it, so. So we're got construction workers, so that'll work out good. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Sounds good.
We look to break ground hopefully this fall. Obviously, we won't get it done this year, but look to get going on it and finish it up next year.
We appreciate you coming. We'll let you know if we have any questions for you.
Thank you.
Any questions for staff from council?
Basically, you're just looking for approval.
Recommendation of that you support annexation of the property for the proposed development, and that you support immediate development of any areas not affected by Beard Avenue realignment.
Yes and yes.
Yes, and yes.
Ooh, do we need a motion?
I don't think we got a
don't think
motion
we
Otherwise,
last time.
all right.
And there's no
There's a recommendation.
resolution number to it or anything, so,
This is not an action by the council.
Right.
It's informal feedback.
Right. And in the last meeting minutes, and I'd like to get it in there, that the 30 recommendations for moving the project forward be included in the meeting minutes. That the developer enter into a pre-development agreement, that the developer enter into a development contract. There was just some miscellaneous recommendations.
perfect.
Sounds good. We'll move on to reports then. Administration 2026 Community Survey.
So the city periodically, typically on a 3-year cycle, which we're a little bit beyond currently, conducts a community survey. We've been conducting these surveys for roughly 15 years as essentially a service industry, which does not have a bottom line because we're not a for-profit entity. The primary way in which we can determine whether or not we're doing a good job is through getting feedback from the people that we serve, our customers, essentially, on their view on the value proposition of what we do for them. So the community survey, the core of it, relates to community services. This can be everything snow plowing, street maintenance, law enforcement, customer service at City Hall, community events, park system, et cetera, and how good we're doing to meet their expectations. And then we can use that information to make policy decisions related to investments, operations, programming, expansion, elimination, or new that we may want to pursue. The last community survey was wrapped up in 2022. I think it went to field late 2021. And normally we would have completed it last year, but we just weren't in a position to do it. So the current budget does contemplate doing community survey. So we have financing identified for it. The question for the council tonight are really straightforward. One, do you want to conduct a community survey? Staff's recommendation is yes. We're now getting to a point in the process where we have enough surveys where we can see trending with regards to the results for the community. The second question is, if you do you want to simply field the same survey we did last time? Or would you like to make any modifications, either eliminating, modifying, or adding to the survey? The last set of survey questions was provided to council for your review. Last time, the biggest modifications we made was the addition of questions to the question suite. A lot of them were related to law enforcement, getting more detailed information, and related to housing and housing expectations within the community. Any questions for staff?
The only comment I had was on page 5 of the survey, or page, whatever this is, 88 of the packet, numbers 31 through 33. Do we need to update the housing costs? Because this would imply that I live in an executive, high-end house, and I don't believe that I do, just based on the cost of housing now. So, and it's a minor detail, so something to think about.
Well, I guess the first question
Yeah.
is, do we still want to ask those housing questions updated for the cost of things today as compared to what it was back in 2020?
I mean, I would think it would be helpful to have the information. Do folks think we have enough of each of those types? It's just, and then with the revised, more accurate, current numbers.
I'm all for it, but my kind of larger question is like, since we didn't do it last year, we're doing it this year. It's still kind of a big election year. Like, do we anticipate skewed results, and do we maybe want to wait until next year?
So, in speaking with the consultant, and again, this is shades of gray, there's not a clear demarcation. They indicated that when we field the survey, the closer we get to the general election, the greater chance that the public's mind will be colored by their perception of state and federal issues that may not have anything to do with us. For example, if fraud is a current topic, the topic of fraud in government may color their responses to our stuff, even though the fraud issues are associated with state level and so on and so forth.
Can we just give
Mute
Amanda's email address and cell phone and tell her it's her fault?
So, in speaking with Peter Leatherman, he'd indicated that once we get past like the end of August, we start getting in close enough proximity that it may have more of an influence. And again, it's probably a gradation. If the council wanted to move forward with it, we'd be returning at the next council meeting with basically approval of the professional services agreement, the proposal, specific proposal, based on your feedback tonight, which would allow them to go to field basically in August. In my opinion, I think we're far enough away from the election at that point that it probably would not be a heavy influence, but if we're gonna move beyond that, I think that we start running a greater risk of there being an influence. Peter indicated that they should be able to get it to field right away.
I say go for it.
I say go for it.
Is that a go for
I
it?
also
Yeah.
think, I also think you need to change the executive high-end, which you said.
The housing
I mean,
numbers.
the dollar amounts, or take those,
words, descriptive words out of there and just keep the dollar
Just keep
amount
the
or something,
dollar
or something,
amounts
yeah.
or something, but
Maybe what we can do, and part of it is there is,
There's gotta be a standard definition somewhere from,
Well, the other two are fine though, don't you think? It's just that executive high-end
executive
verbiage.
high-end.
made me feel good
Housing.
for a minute, but I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
I think the issue with that is we were looking for how people defined classes of
Define that.
housing, so we'd have to change the dollar amounts as well. I think Renee and I could work with Peter on defining that and also get his feedback from consistency of historical results. If it makes sense to keep the same questions and remove the descriptive word, or if it makes sense to adjust it for the change in time. I
So then
mean,
when's the next time we do this, now that we're,
typically, we do it every 3 years, so if we do it in 2026, we'd be looking to come back in 2029.
Okay.
Generally, there's no like hard rule of thumb. My opinion, which is consistent with the consultant, is if your community's fairly static, you could probably go 5 years between years. If your community is rather dynamic, you might want to do it every other year. So depending on what we're seeing happening over the next few years, we may want to do it sooner than 3 years. I don't know it's something that you get the benefit of every year because you need to have enough change for there's something to be measurable associated with it. But I think for general planning purposes, it would be 3 years from now if we do it again.
I mean, I think there could be some skewing or potential for, but I still think it's important now too, because of the work we're doing with, all the development stuff and then the comp plan, pre-work and just different, I think it would be helpful to have this information now, because, I mean, we can probably always find a reason the next administration comes in and there's a whole another whatever and people, so.
One thing to point out, since you mentioned the comp plan, is while some of the questions in here may provide data to help inform the comp plan process, we may be coming back after the first of the year, or at least after elections, with maybe comp plan specific separate one. We had a couple of concerns. One, we're not ready right now to field one related to comp plan items. Two, we feel that if we added a reasonable question suite to this, and all of a sudden it's going to be a really long survey, and the timing might just work better if we're doing it either late this year or early next year with regards to our other community engagement efforts. And we have budgeted for 2026, and we would be recommending for 2027, we'll need to budget for comp plan related activities anyway, so it'd be funded through that, not here, so they'd be separate efforts.
get the feedback you need? Green light?
That's the feedback that we need. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Public Works,
I've got nothing.
thanks for being here. Police,
Throw out a kudos to Officer Zach Batolf. He's had several DUI arrests in the last few weeks, including a wrong-way driver on County 2. Thanks for the wage change approval. We are going to go back out on Monday then for another hiring process, so hopefully that helps. Also the lateral stuff too. Appreciate that. Thanks and shout out to Niagara for a $5,000 donation that they gave us that we used to purchase a new ballistic shield. So we now have two. That'll help our officers, their safety, and if they need to do any kind of a rescue operation or an active hostile event kind of situation, that will help protect them. They're not used for riots, they're used strictly for bullet resistance. And then, just wanted to give you guys a heads up, I know it's kind of come up lately. The scourge of the scooters, the golf carts, the ATVs, speeding. We're getting a lot of complaints. We're doing the best that we can to deal with all of this. We have the speed trailer out. I can tell you that my guys are actively out stopping kids on scooters without helmets, stopping juveniles on golf carts, stopping people on ATVs who aren't following the rules, doing as much speed enforcement in the neighborhoods as we can, but it is a pretty high demand at this point. We're doing the best that we can. That's all I got.
Don't mean to put you on the spot, and if you don't know, you don't know. Can an adult with an 8-year-old hypothetically ride on a scooter together?
I believe that you are not allowed to have two people on a scooter.
Sounds like someone might need a citation. Move on to engineering.
It was my wife's birthday this past weekend, so I decided to do something special, and so I ordered a limo. Thought we'd bounce around town, maybe watch the fireworks on Saturday night. So I went through, found them online, and ordered it. It wasn't exactly cheap, but so they dropped it off, and all of a sudden I look around and there's no driver, not a driver for them. What? So yeah, it turns out that the limo didn't come with a driver. So yeah, it went through all that with nothing to show for it. There's updating your packet. Happy to speak on any of those items.
And Jay, I see you're here too. Anything from you?
Just a few things. EMT class that we were gonna do last year, we were sending a bunch of guys to, kinda got postponed, a few guys backed out, there wasn't enough guys to go through it, so we're gonna run it back through this winter, probably it's gonna be, what we're gonna look at again. The CPR stuff that we started working on, that's probably to kick off here in the fall. Talked to the guys, there wasn't a lot of interest summertime, so we pushed that back. So as soon as after summer's over, we'll probably start again, we'll put that back out, probably through the cities website, I'm assuming, and then our fire page too. We did do an EV training, I don't know if anybody's seen the truck and stuff we had here, there was a big semi out back. That was pretty, guys really liked that, it was pretty good training, it wasn't cheap, but it was actually very helpful. So basically, it comes down to it, if we have an EV fire, it's about an hour and 36 minutes for a Tesla to burn up, sprinkle a little bit of water on it and let it burn. It's probably the best way to get rid of it. Because there's not really much you can do with them at this point. So they don't have any tried true methods, so once it's burned up, it's safe. If it's not completely burned up, towing company's gotta get it cooled down to 100 degrees, and then they gotta stick it somewhere for, I think, 5 or 7 days, so it doesn't self-ignite. So,
Interesting.
other than that, I think that's about it. We did have a guy come in, and Tom was there, we had some airbag stuff. We're looking at purchasing some airbags for fire, something that we probably need. I was talking to Tom, we had one accident that we almost had to lift up a piece of equipment, but they actually got the dirt out, got the kids laying out from underneath it, so turned okay. But this is something that we probably need, so we'll be looking at that.
Jay,
Along with a few other tools.
Could you describe how the airbag works? Because I know when you said airbag, I'm thinking cars. and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like-
Yeah, okay, so they're about 16 inches square, about 1 inch thick, and we hook them up. We got a regulator comes with it, and we just use one of our air bottles from our breathing tanks. We'll hook into that, and they can raise, I can't remember, it's 8 inches, 7 inches, whatever. So, and you could stack them, so you can get up. So basically, you lift an inch, crib an inch, lift an inch, crib an inch. But you can pick, I think some of them pick 32,000 pounds, something like that.
Wow.
I think the big ones are up to 60 ton or something like that, so it's a lot of weight. So it's something that we're gonna be looking at here in the future, and then that would come out of our gambling funds that we have, so wouldn't be any cost to the city, so,
Well, we'll need budget for their ultimate replacement in about a decade.
yeah.
So.
So we're looking at them, so other than that, that's about I got. You guys got anything? Perfect, all right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. See you.
Go back to community development.
I think the only update is just that I did attend the township meeting that I referenced. I started by giving them an introduction to the city's 2050 comprehensive plan, and that we would be looking to cooperate with them and meet with them on planning the next planning cycle. It was kind of abbreviation of the workshop that we did with the City Council and Planning Commission. Then we also talked to them about the annexation for Boulder Heights. There was absolutely no objection. In fact, I think they were looking forward to it because they'd eventually get rid of a road. And then the city has also received another petition for annexation just last week. So I was able to talk to them about that. There was no objection to that. That's a smaller parcel adjacent to the industrial park. And then the last thing, I can't remember. detachment of a property from the city. There was a farm that was proposed for development back prior to the Great Recession. The property has not developed. It has now been purchased to stop development by one of the adjacent property owners. So I'm going to be reaching out to those 3 property owners to see if they're supportive of the detachment. Jan Sikora, Jeff Sikora, and this new property owner. And the township was not opposed to that as well. They directed our authorized staff to work with their attorney on all the 2 annexations and the detachment.
Thank you. And thank you for, what I would say is going above and beyond and continuing to over-communicate with the township, so.
They expressed appreciation of that, if I recall.
Anything from Parks? Nothing?
Question. And maybe this is extra work too for Public Works, but we walk up on Pete's Hill all the time and up by the flag there up at the top. Would it ever make sense to get like just a little garbage can or something up there? I know it's something to deal with, but there's a whole bunch of crap up there, and we were picking it up, but then it's like, well, where's the nearest garbage can? There's the poop station down at the bottom of the trail, and a poop station at the end of the trail into Windrose, but there's no garbage can anywhere along that trail that I can picture in my brain. So maybe it would make sense to think about a potential placement of one that isn't a lot of work, but I mean, there's just no incentive to not, I mean, besides being a good person and whatever, not throwing your trash everywhere. But if there's a place at the, but I know that we have to empty it and clean it and.
We could put one by the bench, we could put one, I mean, we typically don't put
something to think
garbage is
about.
by trails, but at the top there, we could put one, cause we did buy, I don't know, like 30 of them for like $300, big concrete ones, so we'll put one up
I
there.
mean, something to think about. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll get it taken care of.
Of course.
I apologize, but I think your comment sparked my memory. The planning commission, at the end of the planning commission meeting, there's always questions, comments from planning commissioners. These are specific bullet points they asked me to forward to the city council. If the city would consider locating, I'm not looking for answers, but I'm passing on the comment. Locating a compost facility in or near the city, number 1. Number 2, notes that there's a lack of garbage cans within city parks and along city trails. This comment was made by one of the commissioners that regularly runs. And request for an archery range be located in a city park and a temporary dog park.
Thank you for sharing. Things for us to consider. We'll keep going with CCEC.
We have a meeting on Tuesday, but the fire rescue days went extremely well. Anyone that came out, I think it was fun.
It was a blast.
Okay.
We finally had good weather.
Yeah.
That didn't scare people away. Like last year, there was like the threat of rain, but I don't think it actually rained.
Right.
But this year, it was beautiful and people stuck around for quite some time. I thought it was great.
No, I think it went really well. I think that at Wagner Park itself, anywhere between 375 to 450 people probably would be my guess. I didn't see what the actual County Road 2 was because I was down at Wagner, but I talked to Brandon and he thought maybe 2,500 people along the
There
path.
was
or-
so many people on the parade route.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Speaking to the float participants, they indicated that it appeared that there was not huge, but there was an uptick from attendance in the last couple of years along the parade route.
That's great.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
We just gotta work on pace, because we were really
Oh,
booking
yeah.
it.
There, that's
Yeah.
why, that's
I
the
couldn't
only-
get the candy out of my
the
hands
notes.
fast enough.
We need to be behind the marching band.
Yes, yes, because there's a huge
break, but otherwise, I think that went well. And then, like I said, our next meeting is on Tuesday, so I'll have more after that.
All right, scale, any updates?
No, generally in July, most of the scale-related items are on hiatus, so.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
good.
would say last exec meeting, the hot topic was whether or not Scale hires a lobbyist again for upcoming session, and there was a lot of debate between, because there's going to be, obviously, a new administration, potentially a lot of new legislators. Does it make sense to get a lobbyist there to be, meeting new faces and getting Scale's name out there, or do we pause for a year?
I think the consensus was that, yes, we should invest in it because you need to build
To
those
make the
relationships with the
yes.
people.
And that's Ben, is it Perry? Or is it Albright?
Tony.
Tony?
Tony Albright.
I mean, so I guess I just wonder if there's ever, do they have to comply with like RFPs or anything like that, since a bunch of local governments and doing things
I
like that?
think-
It would seem like they would have to put out an RFP every so often.
I believe that was the
Okay.
plan,
Yeah, okay.
was that they would put out an RFP.
I just don't like Tony, so.
This is a recorded meeting.
He's not watching this, I guarantee.
And nothing from service delivery, I'm assuming, then too?
No.
Okay. I-35, also taking the summer off. Policy committee updates, anything?
They start here in 2 weeks, or a
Perfect.
week and a half, anyway, the ones I signed up for.
So usually we just have a quick conversation of, is there anybody who's signing up for what, just to make sure we're not doing crosswork, or if there's something that the city feels we really need to have somebody attending as part of those policy committees.
So as an FYI, I'm signed up for the service delivery one and improving local economies. And, yeah, and that's for the league, and I don't have the Metro Cities ones on here, but I know it's transportation and general government, and then it's,
Municipal revenues policy.
no, that's not it. That sounds boring. Housing maybe? Is there a housing and economic
There is
development for
housing
Metro Cities?
Mhm.
Yeah, that,
Only transportation in general.
yeah.
Nobody else? Any discussion by council?
I have one item, and it's more or less just to get approval from the council and possibly from Andrea. As a thank you to city staff, I would like to bring in lunch for city staff one day, and I wanna know if that is okay with you guys, for all of their hard work that they did at Fire Rescue Days. And this would be open to everyone, including your guys, police, to come in.
And general public? Because that, I mean, they were,
That's why I'm bringing it up, because I don't know what the rules and regulations are.
Yeah,
If I
that would be considered a gift.
Okay.
That would not be authorized.
If it's a donation to the city and it's accepted by the city council,
That's questionable, honestly, for something like that. I wouldn't be comfortable saying that that's something you can do.
so just out of curiosity, how would that differ when people show appreciation for law enforcement and provide donations of tickets, discounted tickets to events and things like that?
I'm not crazy about that either. I mean, it needs to have a public purpose. I mean, if you want to do it and have the city council accept it as a donation and define a public purpose, I suppose you can. But it's questionable.
I mean, and I'm just thinking of a time when I was bringing in food, lunch, or whatever to the House and the Senate. I had to open it up to the entire legislature. I couldn't specify it to human services staff or to specific senators, representatives, so I had to literally put out the invite to the entire state legislature to open it up, and then I decided that was not in my budget. But otherwise, it would have crossed those campaign finance or the lobbying or whatever, the gift stuff and everything, so.
All right.
Staff appreciates straight up thank yous too.
I know you guys worked your tail off, and I just wanted to show appreciation. I mean, you guys are out there from morning till night doing everything, and
They're getting paid too.
I know they are, but
How
you know.
does that work? Like, I mean, if somebody ordered a bunch of pizza and just like sent it over here,
Anonymously.
or like, well, sure, but like
Yeah, there's not much you can do in that
like
scenario.
holiday gifts stuff. Like, I know you guys put it all out in the
That's how
table,
you
so if
put
you
it,
put
yeah.
it in the hallway.
The public, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Josh, second by Amanda. All those in favor?
I.
Aye.
And we will reopen.